Vince Cable, former Business Secretary. Thank you very much for your words today at the IED Annual Conference. I want to ask firstly about what you think the key implications of Brexit are on local economic development.
Well, anything that pushes the British economy backwards is not good locally as well as nationally, and we're almost certain, and the Autumn Statement reflects it, that we're going to get a slowdown in the short run because people's living standards have been squeezed post-devaluation, business investment stalled. Now, it may eventually get sorted out, but for several years we're going to have a weaker economy and weaker government receipts, and that naturally feeds its way into local development.
And how do you assess the current devolution agenda, where we've got several large city region combined authorities, and how do you assess the effectiveness of that approach so far?
Well, I was very much in favour of it, and I think George Osborne deserves some credit for having pushed that, because as you know, we started with Manchester, but Leeds, Sheffield, Liverpool, Birmingham have run with it, Bristol potentially. And I think this is actually rather important, because one of the weaknesses of the British economy is that our cities have lagged behind in contrast with many continental countries. And if the cities can be kind of re-energised economically, then this is going to be good for the whole economy. So I support the principle of devolving power to combined authorities. I think it's a good model. Can argue about elected mayors and whether they're a good thing or not, but as a principle of getting big metropolitan authorities to cooperate with each other of infrastructure, economic development, I'm sure that must be right.
We see the new administration really emphasise the importance of house building to boosting growth and also addressing imbalances in the economy. Do you think that's the correct approach?
Well, the government's record on house building is catastrophic. I mean, absolute disaster. And I'm afraid I was in the coalition and our record was pretty poor, and it's got worse. Essentially, when we go back a generation, there were 350,000, 400,000 houses being built a year. It's under half that. And even though the demand has risen because the population has grown. So it is a very, very bad situation, and it has serious knock-on effects for young people trying to buy into the housing market. It's not good. I think the one issue I quarrelled with my Tory coalition partners about was about their obsession with owner-occupation at the expense of everything else. I mean, I'm all in favour of owner-occupation, and I am one, but the important thing is to get houses built. The easiest way of getting houses to build at the moment is actually getting local authorities to do it, and just empowering them to do it, not private developers who sit on sites for years on end. Just give local authorities the power to borrow, to build, other public sector related issues, other housing associations are private, giving them more authority to build. This would get the supply moving. Of course, you can then achieve diversity by sale if that's what the policy of the government is. But I think that the government's record on public sector driven housing, social housing, is absolutely appalling, and that's what's really dragging the whole supply down.
And do you think there needs to be any changes made to the planning system to boost house building?
Well, we did quite a lot of planning reform in the coalition government, and in principle I'm in favour of making green belts a bit more flexible at the edges, and having a more sensible allocation of land. But it's become a kind of glib phrase. We get more houses if we free up the planning system. I'm not sure I totally believe it. Of course, as you know, there's a large amount of land held by developers not being developed. We had a very bad experience, I think, by having more flexible change of use between commercial and housing. You see what's happening in some urban areas. We're just losing enormous amount of commercial space, which is having very negative knock-on economic consequences. So planning isn't the panacea.
So Vince Cable, thank you very much.
Thank you.